Statistically, what have you found?
Statistically, the chances that there's another planet elsewhere in the universe, as the best math that we can put together, is 0.9 with a line over it, which is 1, which is 100%. It's nearly 100% that there's actually another planet out there.
Why did you just switch the topic?
A debate over science, probability, and belief turns into a direct collision over one question. Can complexity be explained by chance alone? One side argues that time, statistics, and natural processes are enough. The other insists that order, structure, and irreducible complexity point beyond chance. But when the numbers are pressed, what really holds up? And when both sides accuse the other of dodging the issue, who actually answers the central question? Let's dive in.
And I'm just not comfortable doing that. Personally, I'm not, as far as the moral, if you think there's a moral absolute, then that's kind of different. But to use some kind of logical, pseudoscientific, thing, it's just the same thing that people have been doing for hundreds of years, and it didn't work for all of them.
I agree with you. People used to think Zeus on Mount Olympus throws thunderbolts, it's thundering, that's the voice of God. Science discovers that no, thunder is not the voice of God. Therefore, God shrinks because science closes the gap. That has occurred. But, sir, you're not listening to me very closely if you lump me into that stereotype. Because what I am saying is not there's a gap, let's call it God. What I'm saying is study science. Look at the irreducible complexity of a single living cell. Darwin pointed out that if you can show me that an organism is irreducibly complex, that means it just couldn't go step by step by step. So what I'm saying is science showing us irreducible complexity, science showing us the amazing order and design of an eye. Science showing me that kind of complexity drives me to say it's far more reasonable to believe that behind this complexity there's an intelligent mind than it is plausible to say behind this complexity there's no intelligent mind. That is not a God of the gaps. That is a God who has revealed himself in what Einstein called the slight details that we with our frail minds can observe. It's not a God of the gaps I'm referring to, who shrinks when science increases. Quite the opposite, I'm saying. Look what science has shown us. Your whole idea that, well, you take an infinite amount of time, infinite number of possibilities, you're going to have this happen. Well, what does science tell us today? Does it tell us that we have an infinite amount of time? No, sir. The Big Bang theory clearly shows us we've got about 15 billion years. We don't have an infinite amount of time. So I'm just saying, fine. It's not a God of the gaps. It's a simple issue of looking at the scientific evidence and asking yourself the philosophical, not the pseudoscientific baloney. The philosophical question, is it more reasonable to believe that behind this type of complexity there's chance and fate? Or is it more reasonable and plausible to believe that behind this type of complexity there's some type of intelligent mind?
Why is it necessary that you put an intelligent mind instead of explaining it with chance? And because it can be explained with chance. 15 billion years, you can explain it with chance. We have our minds are set to operate on a certain level, of time. We can only understand a certain span of time. We can't understand 15 billion years. Given 15 billion years, statistically, it can happen. Why?
All right, you mentioned statistically. You go and do the statistics. 15 billion years. Non-life to life, single cell to bee to butterfly, butterfly to little boy.
It's been done.
Yeah, it sure has been done. And what have you found? And be honest with me. Statistically, what have you found?
Statistically, the chances that there's another planet elsewhere in the universe, as the best math that we can put together, is 0.9 with a line over it, which is 1, which is 100%. It's nearly 100% that there's actually another planet out there.
Why did you just switch the topic? That's not what we were talking about, another planet out there. We're talking about life right here. The discussion is it by chance or does it demand an intelligent mind? Which is more plausible? Now, you've got 15 billion years. You're arguing, statistically, it can go from non-life, from matter and energy, to life, to single cell, to bee, to butterfly, to boy. And what are the statistics on that happening?
Point 999.
No, sir. No.
Well,
What
yeah,
is it,
exactly, and I can do that, and you can do that if you
10
like
to the what?
You can.
It's something like 1 to 10 to the 55th power, which means, sir, statistically, it's impossible when you've got that kind of thing.
Yeah, and
Come on, be honest with the statistics. Let's go.
Yeah, we can.
Don't tell me it's 100%. It's not 100%. There's only one way that you can say it's 100%, and that's by saying there's no Big Bang, the universe is eternal, you've got an infinite amount of time, an infinite amount of space. But guess what the problem with that is? The problem with that is there's no way you and I can understand that. Not only that, if that's true, what that means is there's a planet out there with Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. There's a planet out there with Buzz Lightyear, right? Yeah, there's Buzz Lightyear's planet out there. Because if there's a small possibility of anything happening, if you take infinity times infinity, then it has to happen. So what you're saying is everything exists. Because I've got infinity times infinity. That's exactly what you're saying.
That's just getting into random intellectual. Well, these are the many scientific possibilities that I think would be fun to talk about, which is something fun to consider. But that's not what I'm talking about.
We were talking
what I'm talking
statistics.
about is the actual statistics
of
life evolving from nothing. Aren't all that spare.
1 to 10 to the 55th power.
Unlikely.
That's what it is statistically. 1 in 10 to the 55th power.
And if you have several billion stars, that works out pretty well.
It does?
Out of that many billion
don't bank your life on that kind of probability.
If you had, if you're playing the lottery, your chances are pretty slim. But if you bought several billion tickets, you're gonna win. It's the same thing. The chances are really slim, but there's billions of stars. We can't even map how far that it goes. I'm just saying that statistically, it is likely, and that scientifically, that is the way that it happened. And I wouldn't feel comfortable. And the reason I originally left Christianity was because people tend to use logical forms of argument to defend them. And I know that you do believe these, and you are very passionate and very intelligent, very well read, and I respect your opinions a lot more than most Christians I've ever heard speak. That's the one point that I feel that falters in my interpretation.
Okay, fine.
Your example.
Then why don't you put your faith in Christ just because you're blown out of your socks by his amazing love for you?
That type of thing is what draws me closer.
Great.
That type of thing in faith is what draws me closer. And
Super.
What draws me further away is using arguments and things. Faith, I have no problem with, and love, I really, really enjoy. But but as far as as far as logical arguments, that's what pushed me away. And I don't like to think that there are people that are listening to that and going, oh, well, that makes sense. Well, scientifically, that's not it. If you're going to find God, you're going to find him through love and faith. You're not going to find him through logical reasoning, is my opinion. But then again, I'm an atheist, so you probably don't want to listen to me about how to find God.
Well, I thought you said you are impressed by the love of Christ.
I'm impressed by love as an emotion.
Yeah, well,
and
Jesus communicated incredible love. He sacrificed his life.
Wonderful. That lifts us up where we belong, like Baz Luhrmann always talks about, that kind of love I do enjoy, and faith in God I really do enjoy. And
why are you an atheist?
Because of Christians. Because of I don't mean you, and I feel like a horrible person saying that, but because of the way that it's dealt with and the way it forces things on people and I know you're much better about that than most people I know. But so many people don't put any thought into it. And I think as human beings, we're meant to filter things and to adjust what's right for us.
Sure.
And so many people follow it blindly without, they dedicate their lives to something that they haven't even thought about just because it's what their parents believe. And that kind of thing originally pushed me away from it. And when I talk to people, I often say that I may grow up to be a Christian. And this is, it is right and it is love. And, I was wrong for rebelling against it for so many years. But all this new intelligence that we're all getting, as college students, growing up, we all rebel against something, and it's one of the things that I rebelled against.
All right.
fairly violently.
So you're sure that you'll get over this time of rebellion and come back to Christ?
I may.
Great.
I'm not sure. We don't know, but I may. It's not out of the realm of possibility. But on my own terms. I can't do it. You know.
Right. On your own terms. Right. But think through that issue of, I got so turned off by these Christians that I had to reject Christ. I mean, look at the African American. The African American has forefathers and foremothers who were enslaved by white Christians. And yet the African Americans have had the intellectual objectivity to look at Jesus Christ and not to give a white Christian racist the power to turn them off to the true Jesus Christ. Now that's impressive. I mean, I understand Louis Farrakhan. I understand a black militant. You killed and enslaved my forefathers and foremothers. I'm going to get you for it. It's exactly what went on in Bosnia. It's exactly what's going on in Palestine today. Look at those African Americans who have the intellectual open-mindedness and objectivity to say, I'm not going to allow a white Christian racist to turn me off to the true Jesus, who didn't have a racist bone in his body. So don't you give some narrow-minded Christian the power to turn you off to the true Jesus, who wasn't narrow-minded and he taught a narrow way, but he wasn't narrow-minded. He accepted all people.